Actually, real question. You have a favorite girl, Illo or Hope?
Oh, that's a hot pick.
I know my answer, but
Or
I'm gonna
you?
wait to see what his answer is.
Uh, uh, hey, don't force me to like have a pick between the two.
It's okay. It's okay. No
why,
pressure. There's just
why,
only
why
one right
can't,
answer.
why can't you have all the good things? Uh, okay,
uh,
so I think I have my I have my answer. So if I would say, I think I like more because
let's
Hope is kind of
go! I'm so happy.
no, because yeah, because the reason is that like
Hi everyone, we're back and we're still alive. And today we have probably one of our biggest guests on the show today. Today we are joined by Chris Choi, who is the Rotaeno lead developer, director. How would you title yourself actually?
producer.
Producer. Yep. He is the man behind the entirely widely successful rotation rhythm game Rotaeno, which you can download on your phones on the App Store and the Google Play Store. I'm Enemy. I am a rhythm game producer and host of the Corner Cab, and I'll let my co-hosts introduce themselves. Blech.
Hello, I'm Rennie. You know me as Rennie the 16th. I'm a YouTuber that likes to make content about rhythm game music and rhythm games in general. Let's go.
Freshly out of hiatus.
Yeah.
Or not out of hiatus,
Well,
but like
I think he is still on hiatus. Also,
he's still.
hello guys. Hello guys, this is Michiko. I also make rhythm game content on YouTube. I make commentary, first play videos as well, and I'm the editor for the Corner Cap.
Yep, and I'll let our guest Chris introduce himself. Chris, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
Sure. First, thanks for having me. And this is Chris. I'm the producer of Rotaeno, and that's basically it. I make rhythm games for a living.
Absolutely. Now I think honestly, I think we this is kind of coming full circle actually because we actually in episode I think was it episode 1 Rennie where we actually sung praises about Rotaeno actually coming out because I
Oh
think
yeah,
when episode 1 came out, Rotaeno had just released, and how time flies at this point.
yeah, I remember that.
Because I remember when Rotaeno's song list was like at this point very itty bitty small, like lots of songs from like alpha and beta, and then now we're getting like the song list is pretty fleshed out at this point. Does it feel like time has flown? I guess since Rotaeno has came out.
Yeah, it's been a pretty long time. Like, although how I say it is
Mhm.
basically it feels like I don't know. It just feels like an instance, although it's been a really long time. Because like every time when we just finish a new update, then we got the next update to do, and we have like a list of things that we plan out to do. So it's like very busy, and then there's no rest. It's just constant churning out like new content. So
It feels like
Yeah.
a blur.
I gotta be.
yeah, I still don't have enough time to process it. It's just like
Yeah.
yeah, it still feels like launch date to me, to be honest.
Really? Yeah. And I mean, when you made content for when you started, I mean, you could ask everybody this question of like, did you ever think the game would blow up as big as you did? I mean, I would imagine that like your answer would probably be no, not really. I mean, did you think Rotaeno was going to blow up?
To be honest, I do think Routine is going to blow up
Like,
because we already kind of blew up in mainland China before like it gets kind of popular in the West.
right. So you
Because
were kind of
like
like
in
we got
mainland
something.
China,
Mhm.
yeah, we already have a lot of audience back then.
And I remember like
So mhm.
yeah. Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, and I remember when Rinny and I checked the Twitter accounts, I was like, yeah, Rotaeno's like doing some numbers, and then I like checked the Japanese Twitter account for Rotaeno. It's like 44,000 followers, and I'm like, holy, like
Yeah,
I
going
remember that,
off.
and I was like, oh my god, wait, never mind. Like this game is like way more popular than I thought it was, because that actually passes up Arkea's Japanese Twitter, I think, which
I
is
think it's just because our publisher actually buys a lot of ads, and
oh
like when you
really?
buy ads, people like follow it. So yeah,
Oh okay.
it's thanks to our publisher buying ads, I
Oh,
think.
Uh-huh. Well, it certainly has done. I mean, it certainly has done well to get the message out there, especially for this sort of game. And it's also like incredibly polished. I mean, we talked about like how I think in the first episode we talked about how gorgeous the game looks. like both from a clean animation standpoint, but then also like the visual novel aspect of the game specifically. It's how I want visual novels to be executed, you know? Like there's actual like some cinematic angling and so on. I think Ed actually came through here in chapter 2 actually with like in the orb chapter where there were parts where Ilo was like jumping around and being happy, and so the camera was blurred in front while it focused on the innkeeper and the innkeeper's wife in the background. And I was like, that's cool, like camera work on a VN novel, and that shows so much expressivity, like expression. Sorry, but it was
it feels so alive.
Yeah, so it was like it feels like it kind of feel like it's a visual novel, but it feels like I am kind of watching a show. Like it doesn't just feel like I'm watching words across the screen.
Well, glad you like it, because like that part takes a really, 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 really long time, and I am kind of regretting having the system in place now. Because you know, when you put that in chapter 1, you gotta have to do it in chapter 2, and you have to like improve on it. So like I spend more and more time on the VN segments, which I'm not sure if it's a good thing, but yeah, glad you like it.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, and I would imagine actually that does take a lot of work, because it's like, it's kind of funny that you say it takes a lot of work, because chapter 1 and chapter 2 is like, if you think about it, if you tried to like blaze through chapter 1 and chapter 2, it's not really that long, or at least story content wise. There's not a lot of words to be said, except unless you do like everything in between. Oh, by the way, for the audience that's actually watching, by the way, we are probably going to talk about chapter 2 spoilers. So if you haven't played it, you probably should go play it, but we are going to be spoiling the secret song, some other secret details we might be talking about. Obviously, Chris is not going to divulge information about that, or if he does, we're cutting it out because we don't want to spoil people. So, go play chapter 2 and then come back and listen to this podcast, because we will be talking about that.
There's a secret song.
The boss song.
we talked about this before.
Oh no.
Oh. Sorry. Anyways.
Spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Galactic Warzone, dude.
It's the boss song. That's it.
The boss.
There's nothing else.
Oh, so it's just the. Oh, I thought it was like actual hidden. Okay.
It is technically hidden. The very complex boss song, if you know what I mean. Anyway, well, moving into a topic, I want to actually talk about Rotaeno's early development. Like, what was that like early on? Especially because like all games have pretty much humble beginnings. Like obviously Rotaeno was not the extremely super polished game probably when it started out. So how did it all begin? Where does it start specifically?
Well, that's a long story, so be prepared.
Okay,
this is a podcast. It's what this is for.
Sure.
Right.
So it started way back at 2016 when I was still in like middle school. Like I was like really young back then.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was learning game dev at the time, around 8 years ago. Like I was just playing with Unity, and I've just finished a few tutorial projects and a few like mini games, and I feel like it's time for me to start a bigger project. Like time to make an actual game, if you know what I mean. So. Right. At the time, I was playing a lot of mobile rhythm games like Demo and like Citus, and also Love Live and maybe Idolmaster, I forgot. But because I'm playing so much of it, and it feels like maybe I could like try to make a rhythm game of my own. So, but the thing is, I don't really want to just make another like vertical scrolling rhythm game, because like there's already tons of them in the market, and I want to have something that's truly original. So I tried a lot of different prototypes. Right. And the prototype that I ended up coming up with is a game where you rotate your phone to play, and it's like, but it's a lot slower than the current version. It's very slow back then. It's like, how would I describe? There's no rotate notes. There's no catch notes. The first version is just a rhythm game where you rotate your phone to like cap the notes that are flying from like flying over the screen, and you have to like rotate to catch it. But that's the first version. But then, like, the game got, like, a lot of improvements, I think, after I played Chinafilm for the first time, and then after I also, like, learned about Ongeki, like, you should probably see some inspiration of our rotate notes and catch notes. They are, like, kind of coming from Ongeki and Chinafilm, respectively.
Like so, the Ongeki bell notes?
Yeah, the bell notes.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I didn't even think about that. Wow, yeah.
It's actually kind of like Outcast note.
Yeah. Huh.
And the Rotaeno is like the Chunifum's Essen. And those two are really great inspired by playing like Chunifum and also like learning about Ongeki.
Would you say like the actual rotates the actual like rotate the slams basically are inspired by like would you say they're inspired by like the Ongeki bumpers or would you say they're
No,
inspired
I
by
mean
the leather?
Chunifums.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Chuni. I see. Gotcha.
Mhm.
That makes more sense. And also the red and blue sound vortex, like everybody and their
Yeah,
mother
everybody
referencing
is
that game.
that.
However, I mean, like that actually. Now that I think about it, usually, sorry, this is just like a small tangent. I feel like most rhythm games now actually have to like represent left with blue and right with red because now it's so commonplace because of Archaea and Sound Voltex.
Yeah,
this
to be
point-
honest, it's like originally we flipped. Originally we have the color flipped, but then like I start playing a lot of Archaea, and then I realized, hold on a second, like I can't even remember which side it is because I play too much Archaea and I always mess it up. So I like have to, okay, let's switch it to the Archaea color, and yeah, that's how it turns out.
Mhm. Ooh, sorry, this just came out. This just came up, and you know what? You can feel free to like not divulge information. Could there ever be a day where we could like change the color of our slams?
I'm not sure because our game already have a lot of settings, and I don't want to make the game even more overwhelming. And also for the
Right, yeah.
people who watches other people play it online,
Mhm.
I kind of want the experience to be more consistent. Although, like after we figure out a better way to handle the options, maybe we'll add it. But it's
Gotcha.
not in our plan right now.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that only because of like I know like some people joke like doing the Sound Voltex like some people joke with the Sound Voltex Firestorm chart and changing all the lasers to like yellow color so it's just like the piss lasers because like, the exact like direction it comes from. And then
no, don't bring
Archaea
that
you can
back.
change Archaea you can change one arc to yellow currently. That's about it.
I think
But,
we have a similar options too for
for
like
colorblind.
colorblind people, right?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I couldn't remember that because I hadn't even really checked that. But so that's
I really want to divulge even deeper into the customization of the game, but we could just push it back into later on in the podcast.
we'll get there. But so I mean like with Rotaeno's early development, how did you start like proposing to people? I guess how did you start getting like the team together? Because actually, I think a lot of people that are listening who are not longtime fans are probably not familiar about either how the charting team was formed or how the rest of the development team for Dream Engine Games was formed. So like how did that all start and then how did Rotaeno come housed under that entity?
So for the longest time, it was a solo project, and I do like everything myself, including charting and like game design and art. And I posted one of my like actually I've been posting a lot of demo videos since I think 2017, but there's like not much reception. Like some people saw it and think it's like very cool, but a lot of people just like they probably can't see it, and they don't even like know about it, which is the same for a lot of indie games right now because it's so hard to get your game discovered by others.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I kind of get tired of working on Rotaeno because I've been working on it for like I don't know a year and two, and I've been like rewriting it for like multiple times because like I get better at coding, I get better at game design, and I want to like make a better version. So I rewrite it, and I feel like man, that's going nowhere. So I decided to start a new project.
Mm-hmm.
And back then I was having I think it's the 4th year of developing Rotaeno. Actually, 30, I forgot. But I was having my how do I say the university entrance exam, and in Hong Kong we have this like one huge big exam that you have to go through, and if you like fail it, then you won't get into university, and it's like very stressful.
Right.
And because but how can I say? But I still want to develop games during that study period, so I decided to make an online game for students to recite their Chinese passages. Because you need to recite the Chinese passage, right? And so yeah, I made a competitive online game for people to like recite passages, and it's kind of blew up because that was a stupid idea, and people like stupid ideas, and like, and we got a lot of news coverage on that game.
That's kind of great. I've never heard that before. I don't think I would have found that even if I tried to look for it.
No, I think it's actually on more on an earlier interview video made by XD Network on their YouTube channel. I remember seeing that back when the game was launching.
If we do find that,
Not really a promo, but
if we do
so,
find that video,
yeah.
we'll link it down below so you can hear that story. But like, yeah,
I'm
wow,
I'm
I
putting
didn't
up on the
know that.
screen right now.
Oh, okay. Like it's in the. Anyway,
It's
but
in the monitor. Yeah.
gotcha.
Okay.
No.
And the game
Sorry.
kind of. Mhm.
No, sorry. Go on. I was
Oh,
trying
okay,
to
okay.
close my brain.
So, and then because this game kind of blew up and we got a lot of news coverage, our current art director, Kay, who used to work at Cat from Dynamics, saw the video and said, "Oh, this kid looks interesting. Like, let me see what else he did." And then he goes on, like, maybe stalk my Facebook profile and saw that I'm also working on a rhythm game. And if I remember correctly, she thinks that my game looks shit. And so she thinks like, this game looks shit, but this game looks cool. And so she just like just send me a message and say, hey, I work at Dynamics, and you want to have someone actually do your UI properly? And I was like, oh hell yeah, like my UI sucks, I know that. So and that's how we got our first like artist, and then the second member of like Rotaeno.
Oh my god! Imagine C4 Cat walking up to you and going like, "Hey, your rhythm game's ass, but we can help you make it better."
Okay, I have to be careful. It's not C4 Cat. It's just like their member. And
Right,
also,
no,
like C4
that's
Cat
what
people are really nice.
Sorry, yeah. That's what I meant. I'm sure it was phrased like much better than like I'm joking about. But like, yeah, that's just funny.
Yeah,
though.
sure. Just want to make it clear though. Like,
Yeah, no. C4
yeah,
Cat.
that's
No.
funny.
Dynamics do not. don't come after us. I'm just joking. But yeah, so that seems to be Rotaeno's early development. Now, before we get to like some other stuff about Rotaeno, actually, I'm gonna save this topic. Actually, I'll save this topic for last because I think it'll be a good like wind down topic. But let's move on to like Michiko or Rini. Do y'all have any specific talking points about Rotaeno? Anything you guys like about the game? I mean, obviously we like the game, but like,
Yeah.
I think there's one giant elephant in the room. Back when the game was still in its beta phase, and us international players getting a glimpse of what the game is actually like, is the fact that the sound director was Hyun. How did you get in contact with them, or did they just approach you?
To be honest, like everyone in the team, they approach us. Like,
Wow.
Okay. So this is pure.
mhm.
The team was entirely gathered by basically the game itself attracting others.
Yes. So the story is that after our artist Kay, after like she joined us and reworked our UI, she also posted on her own Facebook page, and then it attracts our current chart director, who is like Angry B, who is like a pretty famous player in Taiwan. And he saw that and say, "Oh, this game looks cool." So then he also joined us, and he also brings a lot of like other talented charter friends to our team, and that's how our charter team formed. And then Angry Bee also retweeted our game's gameplay, and since Hyung, if I remember correctly, Hyung also follows like Angry Bee.
Mhm.
So Hyung also saw that and say, "Oh, this game looks cool," and like maybe I should join as well. So that's how we got the team.
Chain reaction. Right. Okay.
Yeah, chain reaction.
Cool.
Basically,
Chain
everyone
reaction.
retweets, and then like new members join, and that's the end of the story.
Interesting. And this may or may not be in the final cut, but I'm also is Hyun still sound director there, or did he? I
Yes.
couldn't remember if he departed. Oh, okay. He departed another project. I don't remember which one it was, but yeah, it's just when I saw Cross Soul and then Cross Genocide and everything getting into Rotaeno, I was like, oh yeah, it's becoming it's like everybody gets Cross Soul at some point. Everybody gets the goated. Everybody gets the goated song. We love it.
Infinity Heaven.
Infinity. Yeah.
I am not gonna lie, I was still traumatized by Arkea's Beyond chart for Infinity Heaven, so I saw Infinity Heaven, and it's not because of the song, but I groaned because I was like, please don't make this hard to perfect. I was like, please, I can't take this anymore.
Okay, we're going to add like. Never mind. I feel like I was going to spoil something. Let's cut that part.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Let's keep the mouth shut for a while. Going back from Hyun, how much did they influence the the compositional of the songs that are already on the game back when it was launched and probably afterwards, because I think, well, it's just from my thought, back when the game was initially released, there are probably some concerns of how the game story would progress. Is the story the main uh like the main stage of what the players should experience, and then the songs would try and then you guys would find songs that would accompany it, or do you get the songs first and then the story just gets just it gets inserts themselves into there with no relations whatsoever?
I'll be honest, for chapter 1 is like we got the song, we have everything done, and then we figure out, because we also want to get our game published in mainland China. But the thing is, like, mainland China, they need a permit, and right now the game publishing permit, and right now they have like paused the publishing permits, so we have been waiting for it for a very long time.
Yeah,
and
you
so
got
because,
caught up in the you got caught. Sorry, I was just gonna say you got caught up in the publishing, in the whole publishing problem that I think Riseline and Pigeon Games got caught up in as well.
Yeah.
with updates.
Basically, all Chinese developers caught up in that situation.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I have nothing to do because back then we're actually, to be honest, still today we still think mainland China is a huge market for us, and we also want to publish the game there like simultaneously. So I have nothing to do but like wait for the permits. So I decided to make a new story mode for it. That was an afterthought. Like before, there's no story whatsoever. There's just a cute character, cute girl, and a world setting, and that's all. But because
Wait, so
I got nothing
going to be
better to do, we made a huge like VM stuff and the story stuff, and like it's an afterthought.
Kind of a clutch move. I'm not gonna lie. that was
yeah,
that was a good idea.
Wow.
Because now at this point, like Rotaeno's, because now at this point, I feel like Rotaeno's world and story. I don't know if it's like what everyone plays the game for, but it's like it's definitely one of the main selling points of the game at this point. So it's like, yeah, that's cool.
Because from my experience of playing various other mobile rhythm games that don't particularly have a story, it's their main attracting point of just the playability, like the gaming experience of the game itself, is not that strong enough unless you have other factors to help support it. Either it be playability in terms of being it free to play, or the song lineup, but adding a solid story that can lead the players through the experience of the game and how the world building comes into life, and it tries to explain how it tries to merge the story and the gameplay, is such a big pillar on how some of the more popular rhythm games have seen successes over the years. And if you guys had just released Rotaeno without a story, I don't think it would be this big, blown up either on mainland China or even internationally.
Well, I was gonna interject and say I'm not necessarily sure. The gameplay itself like carries that game. Rotaeno's gameplay is very fun, sure. And it's like I haven't had a I remember during the first episode of Corner Cab, I said like I haven't grinded this hard on a game since I found Archaea, and that was like years ago. I was just going to mention that like the story, like in my opinion, like Rotaeno was already a great, amazing game. The story made it even better. Like just gave so much other stuff to do. Anyway, but sorry, we're blocking Chris out. Sorry.
That's fine. And I think that's true though. Like right now, it's very hard to have a mobile rhythm game without like story. Like you either have to be free to play, or you have to be like have a story, or you have to be like a dance of fire and ice. Like there's only 3 options for you. So it's very hard for you to like actually make a game and get people to like enjoy it for a really long time, and also like share about it without a story. And I think that's very important in hindsight.
Or or at least if you weren't going to have a story, you would need to be pumping out song content like at like twice the rate that Rotaeno's doing it now. And like that in itself is like, you would have to be pumping out stuff as fast as like an arcade rhythm game. Because arcade rhythm games are like 2 updates every month.
And you have to have
Yeah.
those content free as well, because otherwise, like, people aren't going to be paying that much unless you're an arcade rhythm game. So like, you have to
Right.
be free and pump up a lot of content, or you have to have like kind of story to like make people to want to go back to the game once again when the new story launch. And I think that's like the only two options right now.
Yeah, that's for sure. Because retaining players during downtime between updates is just such a critical role on keeping a rhythm game alive. Because the
and
main
I'm
point
like,
is just
yeah.
keeping the
I
game
think
on
the
people's mind.
yeah, I think the main thing is like having some kind of progression to keep people engaged, and
Uh-huh.
I think the story does like the greatest job at that. But there are other things that you could do as well to kind of get that attribute.
The Traveler badge system is a really great way to like unlock songs throughout the game, and then also you have the miles system for the story progression, which I think is actually an excellent. It was actually at first, like on episode 2, I'm not gonna lie, I was trying to get to the boss song as fast as possible so I couldn't get spoiled. So every once in a while, when I got to like parts that were like, this costs like, I think it was like the second to last one where it's like it costs 666 miles, and I'm like, I gotta play 3 songs. Damn you, Dream Engine. And I was like, but at the end, but like once I was like past that, I was like, that actually is kind of a brilliant system, because if you just release the update without any, if there were no sort of miles system, it would just be like people breeze through the story in like 5 minutes, and then like, yeah, because also nobody's stopping anyone from literally pushing skip on the story option and then just going straight to the songs and challenges to just 100% the game. So I think it was kind of, I think it's a great development tactic for like doing the miles system to sort of limit player progression, so that you kind of like, if the player wasn't invested in the story yet, you're kind of pushing them to like, hey, wait, maybe check this out for a second, and then they start reading up on stuff or something like that. It's a good way to like have you work
Spread it
towards
out a bit.
something. Yeah, basically spread it out.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. Like the Traveler badge system was a great idea. There's also like you can buy singles. The Rotaeno was releasing singles. Like I guess I would imagine the pipeline is kind of like, if the charters finish a single song, then basically they're like, okay, well then we can just throw it in like a small update at that point. I would imagine it's kind of simple like that, but probably not. Chris, can you elaborate on that actually?
You mean the free singles or the pay singles?
I guess like, is it kind of like, if you guys have like, because I would imagine it's not you guys like tunnel visioning on one update. I would imagine it's a variety of different things, like getting prepared for stuff. But like, if a charter finishes like a single song that isn't part of like a story pack or like a pack that you're working on, do y'all just go like, yeah, we could probably move this to the front of the pipeline and release it? Like, does anything get shifted around?
To be honest, we have a plan, but the plan usually fails. So sometimes we have like switch songs, swap songs. So yeah,
Yep.
The ship, Bolt ship breaks down every 3 seconds.
yeah. So it wasn't supposed to be like that. Although I know it looks like that, but it wasn't supposed to be like that.
That's funny. Oh well. I think it's kind of refreshing actually to see that even this development team, even you guys at the development team are kind of like, we're trying our best, but we still screw up sometimes. And like, even then it still looks great. It's like, I don't know, it's nice. It's nice to know that like, it's nice to kind of know we're, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like accidents happen like to everyone, and like, yeah, that's just part of the game.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. But for chapter 2, I think I actually want to talk about like how much like the representation on the song list has gone up considerably. I mean, obviously all rhythm games start out with like this very preliminary song list where sometimes it's either donations from someone like who just wants like the exposure, or sometimes it's just like literal charitable artists that are like, hey, let me give you this song, or let me give you this song at like a small discount rate or something like that. That's how I approach it. I don't know how other artists approach it. I'm not going to speak for them. But there were, like, we started out with like kind of huge names. Like we had Nanamai's Chrysanthemum, and then we also had like had a few Kirara Magic songs starting out, and then also like I'm trying to think of something else, and then we eventually built up
We
to.
got 2 Suna songs as well. Wow.
Wait, what?
Suna, CXNX.
Oh, yeah. Then we got Huggy Wuggy. Don't remind me about Huggy Wuggy. There are a few charters that I have
Think
a
Sound
bone to
Solar.
pick with on Rotaeno. One of which I think it's Adachi. I I have a bone to pick with Adachi at this point.
Sure, go on.
Life flashes before Weeb Eyes is the true boss of Chapter 12, and no one else can tell me otherwise.
Wait, really?
I
think
that chart is like so funny. That chart is so funny, and it is fun when you get it. But oh my god, I spent like 9 hours trying to get this chart right. And I was like, at this point, I was like looking at the phone. At this point, when I like finished it, I think like second before the actual AP, I was like, fuck you, Adachi. And I was like,
okay,
I still love it. The
partly
chart is
out
great.
there.
But like, it was still like, it was a playful fuck you. It wasn't actually like, but like, oh my god.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But
yeah.
you mentioned actually in our DMs leading up that like charting was like the charting team seems to like impress you every single update more and more. Tell us about that.
Okay, so basically the thing is when I design a game elements, for example, the trail, the guide, like the guide trails, and I design it such that it's used for like guiding players to rotation direction, and that's all I think about it. But then the chart team started into using it to like draw some stuff and like to make some like special effects, and I was like, oh, hold on a second, that is not what I intended, and I actually have to optimize our like trail system to make it such that those line art can work in our game. Otherwise, it would be like very laggy. And also, like basically, it's like every time when I design a new system or like a new gameplay elements, the chart team is going to use it in unpredictable ways, and it's like in a very good and good way. I mean,
Yeah, so you had to facilitate them by optimizing some of the charting elements so that they could actually do their creative work.
yeah.
Clarification, by the way, not Adachi, Adashi. Sorry, Adachi. Still hate you though, with love. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, sorry. Continue whatever thought we were on, unless that was it.
And okay, so we were talking about how our chart team impresses like everybody, including me.
I was like,
And
yeah.
also,
Sorry.
okay, so the thing is like we actually gone through a lot of iterations of the charts because our game got delayed so many times. So like each time we got delayed, we just go through all the charts again and say, and makes everything a little bit better. And turns out like it makes everything a lot better. And then we go back to the first chart that we like go through like basically we go back to the first chart and check it again and realize, hold on a second, we could improve it more. So then we just keep on this never-ending cycle of like improving the charts. And I think that's part of the reason why our launch chart is already pretty high quality, because it's not really a launch chart for us. It's the charts that we have been like, how should I say, like finalizing or like improving for like over 5 or 6 iterations at least.
Yeah, I can actually imagine. Yeah.
And a lot of the thumb patterns, they weren't originally like included in the first iteration. Like I also say like when I first started, the team is only me, so I also made a lot of charts, and it is like very bad. But then the charts like actually try and to like understand the game in each of their individual ways, and each of them have a different style, and it kind of makes the game chart very fun and very like how to have a lot of personalities. And yeah, that's also what's very impressive to me.
Yeah, because I feel like actually I haven't started to associate. It's still too early in my playtime to like start associating charters with charts, like where I can play a chart. Like for Archaea right now, I can play and I go like, oh, that's a toaster chart, like without even looking at the charter. But like I haven't done that yet for Rotaeno, but I can imagine that like if I go back and check all the Adachi charts, it's gonna have something I either like am having trouble with, or it's going to have like some very pretty catch note patterns. I would imagine, like that's just an example, but like.
Yes, you're right. Like he's like infamous for having those like insane hard catch part, and, and also like a lot of speech changes that is works in weird ways, which is why we allow him to do this song.
That's funny.
Yeah, it feels like Rotaeno is so flexible with its mapping style because there's so much mechanics and like so much different things you can do to play with and stretch the limits. It's just that's what I noticed when I was playing. Even chapter 1, like
Yeah, and then I know there's quite a few. How many people are in the charting team now, as of today, as of the recording of this video?
Let me count. Hold on a second. 1, 2, 3,
I
4,
have
5, 6, 7, 8,
Angruby,
9, 10.
Jiang, Tangsend, Axaratus. That's still Jiang.
And also like a lot of like Chinese only name like Plan, Jiang, and like
Yeah,
Asuna.
I am gonna.
and,
I am not going to attempt to say those because I do not want to offend anyone. Because I don't speak
yeah,
Chinese.
I think a total of 10 like main chapters who's considered like part of our core chatting team, and we also have a few like outside chatters who is also like working on the game.
Oh, okay, that is a big charting team, at least for a mobile rhythm game.
Yeah, because everybody is working on it like part time, and we all have like our actual job
Yeah,
other than like working on this game. So we need more people to make up with the like lack of actual working hours.
right. So Rotaeno does not, at least Rotaeno and Dream Engine Games does not make up like your full time job.
Technically, I'm still a full time student, university student.
Ah, okay.
But yeah, I put all my effort into like the game instead of school, and so I think we have 2 full time members right now, and all other people are part timers.
Okay, gotcha. And that kind of brings me, and I guess like as a full time job. Speaking of that, you are like, at least the how have things changed for you in your life, like since Rotaeno started? I mean, there's obviously like you got more attention, and now you're kind of like, I guess we could call you an internet celebrity, but like basically you're kind of on a much higher social pedestal in the rhythm game community at this point. But like, how has life changed for you? Because Rotaeno, I would imagine, does make its money's worth, but like, how specifically has your life changed as a direct result of Rotaeno's success in the rhythm game community?
To be honest, I don't think I have the time to process it yet, and I still feel like, how I say it, it's like I still don't feel like Rotaeno is something that is like, how do I describe? Let me see. It's like I know I work on Rotaeno, and Rotaeno is something that I work on very hard, but I kind of don't associate the success with me because like that's the game I'm working on. I'm just like very glad to have this chance to actually work on this game,
Right.
but I don't really feel like it's about me, but it's rather than like I'm also part of it. I'm just like so glad to have the chance to actually work on this cool thing. And things change. I think it's actually more stressful because before like I could do whatever I want. Like I could just say that game is bad, and also that chart is bad. But now I can't say any of that because like I'm representing my game, and I also can't like comment a lot on like art stuff.
Yep.
And also
I think actually all 3 of us can relate to that actually quite a bit.
Yeah.
Actually, like none of us can really like, we have our own like personal opinions about things that we might say to ourselves, but then we're like, we can't really say them out loud anymore. At least I don't think I think Rini is definitely at that status. Michiko and I are also kind of building up that status a little bit, but it's like, it's kind of, yeah, I get you. It's like you can't really just say shit on the internet. But it definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
Like it's, and I think I remember I'm reminded of a really early I think it's a tweet by Toaster. Or it's Nitro, one of the two. And I think Guy also mentioned this as well, where eventually Archaea was blowing up to such a point where it became where I think Toaster even mentioned he would like, I knew that my status had been like, it's something along the lines of, I knew my status had been irreversibly changed when I could tweet Archaea and then get thousands of likes just by saying that. Like, and it's kind of like the impact that has. So I guess the lesson to take from this is Chris, if you want free interactions on Twitter, just tweet Rotaeno.
Although to be fair, I kind of don't want to associate myself with Rotaeno too much, because
And I
you
can
know it's
understand that.
like, yeah, because you know it's like you don't want yourself to be burned by like a single song you write that
Right.
blows up, but then like everybody just remember you as the person who made that song, but that's not
-1.
what I want people to remember me of. So
-1.
yeah, I'm trying to actually like get myself to like far like further away from Rotaeno and actually like become a different kind of personality, because Rotaeno, I've been working on the game for a really long time,
and I totally
like,
and I totally apologize
Yeah.
if that like if that kind of like encroached or went somewhere uncomfortable for you. I'm just so deeply curious about like with how fast Rotaeno became successful. I was just super curious about like how does that affect you, I guess. And so sorry if that got very uncomfortable for you. But I was just
no,
super
that's
curious.
fine. Because I just want to share my perspective, because that was not something that I would have imagined before I started like making the game.
Right.
Like before, like especially before the game got popular, I really wanted the game to get popular, and I kind of like associated myself with the game. So basically, like my identity is the Rotaeno, the game itself. But then as I work on it for longer and longer, and I start to realize that this is not healthy, this is not good for me, and it's not good for the game as well. So then like that's the perspective I kind of want to share, because it's not something that you will have think of if you have not worked on a project this long, and if you have not worked on a successful project.
Right.
Yeah, it's very easy to look past, like you just see the end product, you don't see the actual work that goes into it, I feel like, as a player, and you don't really think beyond that. So yeah, I know what you mean.
Rini, I feel like you. Yeah, I was about to say, Rini. I think you probably speak from personal experience a little bit too, with
Yeah, as well. Yeah, true.
history of artist series, as well as the Camellia episode, because I think is it Camellia or Nanahira that's like your most viewed video at this point?
I think it's not a hero. Yeah,
The Nanahira one. Yeah.
Yeah, I also
And,
get
like-
to know your channel with the Nanahira ones.
Yeah. He's a fan.
Oh, wait, what?
He's a fan.
Oh,
He's a Rini fan. And for
That's
me,
another.
it was I'm like I got my own little window of that with -1. Both we just got the results, and then I found like I was like 104, and I was like, wow, like I was not expecting like that song to do so well. And it was like the same thing with like Hat did the BGA, and that's kind of like he really carried that project, and I'm so grateful for him. But like I'm catching that own window of like everybody that sees me is like, oh, you the guy, I love -1, and I'm like, oh, that's the only song they've listened to, like, or something like that. Or some people will, and I'm like, oh, but have you heard like Cynthia? Have you heard 42 Flux and all that stuff? And I'm like, I go listen to those. But like, yeah, the point is like the point is, Chris, I'm piggybacking off of all of them. I kind of feel to an extent how you feel, but you're on a much larger scale than we are. But
Yep.
yeah. You have any favorite music? Like just in general?
I think my favorite music kind of changes a lot. Like my favorite types of music, like I used to really like anime and J-pop, and then I go to like rhythm game music, and I go to like general EDMs, and right now I'm really into like ambient and like minimalist, and also like some jazz, and especially Japanese jazz music.
I was about to say,
Japanese
is
jazz.
any of this music? I have to, sorry, because this is the Rotaeno episode. I gotta round it back to Rotaeno. Does any of that music like? Does any of those musical tastes like kind of reflect in Rotaeno's like sort of song selection or sort of the aesthetic you were going for?
Some of the early songs are from like artists that I really like. For example, like Rivera, I don't know how to pronounce it, from Soul Bob in like Chapter 1, and like I used to have a lot more like, because before our other members joined, it used to be because I wasn't that into rhythm games when I first started making Rotaeno. So my song choice and my song list is not that focused on rhythm game music, but more diverse. But as we have like more and more members who join, and we kind of like switch our directions to be more like rhythm game music heavy, and also those type of music also fits the game better in some way. So
Okay.
yeah, Yeah, and also my personal preference is kind of hard to like it's hard to imagine an ambient music rhythm game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that one like 2 notes that you have to hit.
Yeah, that
Or
just
just
does
one
not
long note.
work.
Still very disappointed. Still very disappointed that there is not a chart for 1 BPM that was in WACCA. That was literally like, because in 1 BPM you can actually like count. You can actually count like where the beats are each minute. So really disappointed that there was still no chart where it was just 1 beat right there. 1 beat right there. Like, we'll talk about
That
WACCA in
would
a
be
second
hilarious.
because actually, no, that's a perfect segue into it. So, WACCA, rest in peace, Elizabeth, my baby girl. We were talking about this actually before we started recording. You were, if I recall, you all were the first WACCA collab post-mortem, if you know what I mean. Like, after WACCA had shut down. Am I correct about that? Or at least you were the first, like, published collaboration where WACCA still traded with you.
I think we have like D4DJ before us, and also Chunifer announcement.
We were just talking
I
about.
think
We
there-
were thinking we couldn't tell if it was
Yeah.
Chuni first or if it was you first.
Let me check. I think it's
Because I thought I
yeah,
remember like
I
I remember when the
Mhm.
Rotaeno collab came out. Or the WACCA collab with Rotaeno came out. I was like, wait, I thought WACCA's dead. Like I felt like I saw a corpse rise from the ground.
No, I think D4DJ is probably one of the newest ones. So it's either Rotaeno or Chunitam at this point.
Oh, okay. I guess the first way to start out about it is it's WACCA. Tell us about that. Because that was crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like I still think it's crazy. So basically, the story is that our team we also really love WACCA, and then we feel like we have this sense that WACCA isn't doing well because like they were releasing this countdown songs. Also, they were releasing that like infamous Mobius.
The Mobius Morse
so
code
we're-
at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, and we feel like hold on a second. It seems like WACCA may be shutting down, and we really want to collaborate with WACCA because the gameplay is like very kind of similar, not very similar, but we also love the game, and we also want to do a collab. And we know that because our publisher is SD Network, right? And SD Network also publishes Mustache, which collaborate with WACCA, and we think that maybe we could ask our publisher to help us like contact WACCA and see if we could do a collab.
So
that's what we did. And then
okay. I was wondering, because I was like, Rotaeno was very like, because at this point Rotaeno was like still about less than a year old or something like that. So like when they got a WACCA collab, I was like, how did they swing that? Because at this point, because it's still supported by Hardcore Tano C, so it's like it's still like a massive game. It's an arcade rhythm game. I was just shocked. I don't think any of the player base was expecting it, if they didn't know any of the publisher details that you're talking about right now.
Yeah, and I'm also shocked that like they actually accept our invitation. Although like sadly it's a one way because they told us that sorry, our game is going to be shut down, but if we want a one way collaboration, we could do that. So that's what we did. Yeah. Like huge thanks to the Marvelous team, and like they're amazing.
What else was there? So it was there was Let You Dive, and then there was also With You and Overture. So you got all 3 theme songs actually. Like
yeah.
So actually, which I think is I think you're the only rhythm game that did that got all 3 of them.
Also D4DJ, I think.
Oh, D4DJ did get it. I'm sorry, I don't play D4DJ,
D4DJ
as much,
got
so I don't know
Yeah.
any of it.
Oh, you need to play D4DJ, but that's another topic.
Yeah. So, but you got those, and then I'm not gonna lie, I did not think you all would get Silent Phobia. I didn't think you get with that. I didn't think that one would get on your list. Like, I thought that would still be too special of a song. Like,
because we don't want to choose like, because other rhythm game collab, they always pick those same song, and we know that people are going to like those songs, but we also want to have some songs that aren't picked in other rhythm games, so we chose like Silent Phobia and also like Dual Breaker XA.
I was so happy about Dual Breaker because like that is legitimately one of my favorite like Getty Straver songs. I think like they were going. WACCA was going in the direction where I feel like they were going to give every Tano C member a 14. That's what it felt like they were going to do if they didn't get shut down. And I was like, God, if like like Getty songs, like if Getty got a 14, I would have lost my mind. If we got like a Getty 14, like a 14 like Inferno for Meteor Burst, or even like even a 14 for Dual Breaker, which I can't even fucking imagine what that's like. It's slide and flick hell. But Dual Breaker was a really cool pick. Silent Phobia was also pretty cool. I think that was about it on the song list. And then there was Invisible Frenzy, which I don't. Did anyone else get Invisible Frenzy? Anyone know?
No idea.
You mean other?
Yeah, did any else?
You mean other games or?
Yeah, other games. That's what I was meaning. Sorry. Anybody else get?
Yeah, I think also, Default DJ also get that one.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And then I think
it's always Default DJ.
Always Default DJ. Imagine an O2 Jam collaboration with WACCA.
No.
No.
I have dived too far into the Twitter madness of O2 Jam to be bringing up into this podcast. Please no. But returning back to Invisible Frenzy, I really like how you guys tried to tie up the unlockment system. It feels like for these kinds of collaborations with other rating games, especially for me who has been covering many of them through the past few years that I've been creating content, this is probably one of the more higher efforts that I've ever seen, where you directly involve the player into bringing some kind of an experience to unlock this final song. And I was wondering if this is like, is this the first thought of you guys trying to make an unlockment system just by playing a list of songs, or are you guys just first was planned to just, okay, here's a hidden jacket, just go into the cutscene and pick the difficulty and watch the CG? Like, is the song unlockment system already thought about when the collab was being developed?
We actually have a lot of different ideas on how to do the collab, but in general, we really want to make this collab super special because it's a game that we really love, and like it's not, it's a chance for us to get to work with WACCA. So we need to make it as good as it possibly is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we got a lot of different ideas, and there's a few more, like maybe we save it for later collabs or later events, but we got some even more crazier ideas, but those were like too time consuming. We don't have enough time to do that, so we end up using this like idea, which is like kind of let the player to go back in time to experience, like basically the whole theme is like the memory of you and WACCA, and like basically pay a tribute to this amazing game, and that's the whole idea. So we decided like, oh, maybe we could like let the player replay the few songs and also get a special collaboration characters. And also we want to have this surprise element, which is the new like boss song animations and also the new skin.
I still use that
final idea.
I still use that skin to this day. I have not changed it back since, because it's just like, it's my favorite skin. Because it's the closest I'll get to officially playing WACCA. But yeah, it's also cool because I guess I'm actually curious. Did you design, or did your team design the assets for the skin, or was some of it handled by Marvelous? Like, did some of them like give some assets over to you?
We designed everything. Like actually, I do the no skin part. So
pulled up a PNG of the skin and just like copied it, basically.
Yeah, that's it.
And Marvelous was like, yeah, you can do that.
Yeah, we are Marvelous. Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you.
It was amazing to use the skin.
That was when that came up on the Invisible Frenzy. I was like, "Well, it's WACCA."
Yeah. Glad you guys like it, because that's a lot of effort.
I was about to say it looked like it was a lot of effort. It's
kind of. I remember it was around this time as well, when I was doing my set of videos of the WACCA collab, that Chris followed me on Twitter.
Oh wow, nice.
I actually enjoy your streams a lot, because
what I was going to say, yeah, and I want to do some content creation at some point as well, because I'm like, I want to live stream rhythm games because, one, I like to play rhythm games in front of people. I like to just play stuff and hang with people. But then also, like, we have no US content creators for rhythm games except Mini-Wheat Duo. That's it. And, like, I'm trying to think of some other people, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. Hey.
Osu?
Huh?
Osu people?
Well, I'm not counting Osu. We know Osu. We all know that. Osu community, I love you. I've started to befriend you. Thank you all for being actually good sports and keeping me away from the filth part of the Osu community.
No cap.
No cap.
Okay, let's go back. Let's go back.
Anyway,
Yeah.
no. But what was your final rating and level in WACCA? Curious.
You mean like the chart? Wait, what do you mean by rating?
Oh, your
Account rating.
Your account rating, and then your stage up. What was your final stage up?
Hold on a second, I forgot. I may need to like file my pictures, but yeah, I forgot the exact number because
I can find
because I played a lot of WACCA when it first launched, like the first version when it first launched in Hong Kong. I played a lot, but then like back then there's no system for me to unlock the master difficulty like immediately. Oh, I mean the expert difficulty. So you have to like really grind the songs for a really long time, and I kind of like stopped playing it because of that.
Right.
And it is like only until like it almost ends that I figure out, oh wait, you can actually do that now with the shop systems. And then like I go back and play a lot. So yeah, I don't think my rating is that high, so I don't really have that memory.
Oh, okay. But yeah, thank you so much for the WACCA collab, because oh my god, I thought if we just keep collabing with it, that means WACCA will basically still be alive, right? We'll just force Marvelous to continue giving it. If we just fund the game a bunch, maybe they'll bring it back. Copium.
Yeah, it's a shame because nowadays I don't think there's a lot of successful arcade rhythm games like the latest release, including that
Chrono
what's
Circle?
that one? The Chrono Circle, and also that
I knew immediately what you meant.
Music Diver. With we have the drumsticks, 4 ways and stuff from Taito.
Music Diver.
I haven't got to play it yet though.
I haven't gotten to play
like
it
a
either.
round 1 exclusive.
I don't know. It looks kind of fun though. Like I haven't gotten to play it yet. It looks pretty interesting. Like we're starting to make more circle games. I'm starting to notice. Like like there was Chrono Circle, and then there's like there's Chrono Circle, and then there's Music Diver. And then like honestly, it's kind of hard to make a music game circle music game at this point, and I think this is probably what WACCA came the closest to like being sustained and staying out there, like being really popular. I would argue that part of that is because of Tanos's presence, but then also just the gameplay for WACCA was also really colorful and fun. But it's really hard to compete against My.
The one true washing machine.
We got my friends and I call the WACCA machine the drying machine. That's the dryer.
The drying machine.
Looks like the Dyson. Put it up on screen. It looks like the Dyson Air fans. Like it's like that's what we think it is. So it's like
the bladeless fans.
Yeah, the bladeless fans. That's the WACCA machine. So that is to say, like, yeah, so WACCA's like the dryer. But now it's hard to compete against My, especially when My is so unbelievably popular. Sega kind of dominates the arcades at this point, along with Vimani. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but like that's also, but it's like I like love WACCA. I have a love-hate relationship with My because I love My as a game. It's fun. It's really fun to watch, but oh god, I kind of hate it because I feel like it killed WACCA. Because there's just, at least that's me under assumption. We will never know why WACCA got shut down, but I assume that's part of the reason is marketability and how dominant My has already established itself in arcades. So I think there's actually one more thing I want to talk about before we start to kind of wind this down, which is I'll talk more about the world of Rotaeno a little bit, because I imagine, did you have a direct hand in basically writing the story and also like how the art direction goes?
I only do the first iteration. Like
okay.
The first iteration I done it myself, but then I realized that I'm not good with like actually writing a good story. So then we have an external writer who like actually go through everything and like basically rewrite a lot of them. So
does it get passed by you though?
Yeah, but
like Does it get past where you go
yeah,
for it? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because we're a rhythm game, right? And it's
Right.
like you can't just write a story. You have to have a story that is good for a rhythm game, and you have to like tie in with the gameplay elements. So I also like do basically it's like just directing, but yeah, most of the tiny decisions and also like actually like the major plans we discuss it together. But like we also have a writer to actually go and make like the actual story interesting, and engaging to read.
Well, I was gonna ask, like, before this I talked about, like, man, I remember Rotaeno, the day they finally took like the simple thing that I love in life, which is sitting in my house while it's raining and doing stuff. They took my love and turned it into a nightmare, where it is basically like, yeah, so Aquarius is like raining forever, and now we have to solve this problem of our world's gonna be flooded by literally a permanent rain. And so I want to ask, like, did you necessarily come up with that idea, like that Aquarius, or was that the story writer mostly?
I think I come up with that idea. I forgot where I get that idea though.
I was about to say, I imagine it was you sitting in the house, because all I could think of is like sitting in your house, like relaxing at the rain, and it's like, ah, this is nice. But what if it just kept raining? Because I'm not gonna lie, I've had that intrusive thought where it's like,
Same.
it'll just like, I was like, man, I love this, but if it did keep raining, I'd be in a lot of deep shit right now. Like,
Yeah, I think I read like I don't know if you guys know about SCP, but there's like an SCP where it just
I know what you're talking about.
yeah, and it just reminded me of that, and also like staying in the shower and it just never stops running.
So that's Aquarius, the horror story of Rotaeno.
Yeah.
Do you have okay, but actually, real question. Do you have a favorite girl, Illo or Hope?
Oh, that's a hot pick.
I know my answer. But I'm
Illo?
gonna wait to see what his answer is.
Hey, don't force me to like have a pick between the two.
It's okay. It's okay. No pressure. There's just only one right answer.
Why can't you have all the good things?
I mean, story-wise, you only have one girl.
True.
The other one
Which
is
is Ila.
lost.
Yeah, the other one is just. The other one was the meme of the guy like that does the peace sign and he disappears. That's Hope. Like.
Okay, so I think I have my answer. So if I would say, I think I like Hope more because
Let's
Hope
go!
is kind of.
I'm so happy.
No, because the reason is that like Elot is kind of the first iteration. The design is kind of based on myself, like this like lazy, stupid person, which is like kind
Oh my god!
what.
Oh
Yeah, that's
no!
Yeah, that's the story. Like the first iteration is kind of like myself because I feel like there's a lot of bad things that I have, and like, but I don't want to be that kind of person. And then there's this contrasting Hope, which is kind of like the person who might really want to be like all perfect, amazing. Although like, yeah, you will see in the story, then yeah, obviously there's going to be something that's going to happen to her. But yeah,
Jokes,
but I would say like.
Jokes aside, I like both characters.
That,
yeah, yeah, I get it, and I think jokes aside, I do like both characters. I actually really like Hope specifically for one, she's very pretty, but then also like, I think I love the song theming, at least for Hope, because I think going back to like the song list, it's like Hope has, I guess you could count Inverted World as part of her theme in a way, but like specifically, am I right that there's kind of like a correlation between like Hope being in the jacket for songs like Amethyst and Spinal, which is like Penoreri and Kanekoshi Haru, and I'm like, I love that theming of that like really beautiful piano art-core-ish music.
Let's just say that's intentional.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So we'll keep it that way, but I'm like, I just know that whatever you're doing with that, I really like it. Mostly because Kanekoshi Haru and Penoreri are like some of my biggest inspirations, and I'm like, seeing them in the jacket, because Spinal's jacket is, oh, it's gorgeous. And Amethyst too, but like, yeah, I really appreciate that sort of like intentional theming. So, but yeah, Hope is the best character. Rotaeno fans can fight me, even though she pops up in the story for like 2 seconds. Actually, in both chapter 1 and something else. Wink, wink. Go play chapter 2. That I'm definitely not going to say on stream. I don't want to spoil that because I want people to find that for themselves.
Yeah, we hit a lot of secrets, so
yeah.
We
And
can go
that's
down.
that very specific one in chapter 2. Go find it. Figure out where to look. Even if in the 2 seconds that Hope is in the story, if that just it's just a testament to just how much of a good character she is. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, who's the guy that in chapter 1 is like he came for like a second? I was like teaching us how to drive or something.
Oh, Bolt.
Yeah, I like him.
In chapter 2, he's there's a oh fuck, I don't want to spoil it. Should I spoil that? It's more like side
spoiler
content.
alert. Spoiler alert.
Oh, okay. It's more like side content, but yeah, I'll leave it at that. But Bolt's cool.
Yeah.
Actually, I think. Well, you can discuss both if you like. I think yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say actually, I'm not gonna spoil how to get there, but I am gonna say like Bolt. Well, never mind. We'll leave it at that.
I mean, you could actually, no, okay.
Okay.
This is the beginning of the video. Go like we have spoilers for chapter 2, and then throughout the rest of this video, wait, I don't know if I should say that.
There's no spoiler.
You guys do not ever talk about chapter 2 throughout this entire podcast.
We have 5 notes. Well, because let's be real. What it is Ila like arriving on Orb, putting herself in danger, and then
Bro.
putting herself in
and
danger.
then tries to hop into another planet.
Yeah, watches a married couple make out and then leaves. Just very funny.
Yeah, because it's the beginning of the story, right? And we need some
Right.
some pieces to show like the before and after of the lot, which I'm not going to spoil, but you need some slower moments, and then it will go like get more exciting.
I also like how, and this is for the audience. Once again, I'm gonna warn spoilers for like the secret song. Okay, I actually liked how like Galactic Warzone. It was funny because I think Ilo was talking about like, oh, but what if Hope's been taken by some space pirates, and then Galactic Warzone, and I was like, space pirates. I was like, let's go. She really was kidnapped by space pirates. We don't know that for sure. Just a heads up for the rest of the audience. There's no implication of that. But I thought like Galactic Warzone, and then after she said space pirates, that was immediately what I thought of. And I was like, yo. So if we get to Chris does not have to say any spoilers, but if we do get to see some space pirates, I will be satisfied. Then I think I can make some tweets on Twitter. I think we can make content pirate themed. Like it'll be a fun time.
Throw a hat.
I'll put
Oh, is that going to be a bet?
Put Elot in a pirate hat. Do it, and I will love this development team forever. I will buy the game twice.
Okay, taking notes.
Have her run the ship like a pirate ship.
A pirate spaceship. Okay.
Spaceship.
Before we continue on, I have one fairly important question to ask. Is Rotaeno going to be having an April Fool's event?
Ooh.
April Fools? Obviously, we got it planned.
Yeah!
Oh yeah, let's go!
Please look forward to it.
Yes.
I imagine it's going to be like the shenanigans that we have from Bolt's challenges, but even worse.
That's the prediction. These are more so the predictions. I'm hoping these
are predictions.
I am hoping that we will finally get to. I know that's like technically like it's kind of. I'm interested to actually see what Dream Engine does because a lot of these Bolts challenges and a lot of these challenge ones are like the ideas already for April Fool's charts. You know, like for example, I don't know which one it was. I think it's the. I have Rotaeno up just in case this ever came up. It's a very specific interlude challenge where you turn your phone vertical wise, and then you're basically playing it like sideways. Like that one, in my opinion, was absolutely hilarious. Then there's also the bomb challenge and some other stuff.
One.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, I'm really curious to see what Dream Engine does because that all the ideas that we've just seen in the challenges, those were April Fool charts ideas, basically. So I think it would be really funny if we finally get a chart where we have to go upside down or you get to tap above and below. These are my predictions that I'm going to put out, and we can come back to this later whenever April Fool's rolls around, and we'll see if I'm right or if I'm totally wrong. I'm going to predict I'm totally wrong.
Wait.
But
upside down how?
Like as you're playing the notes for the catch notes, you have to literally spin your phone around all the way. Like
Oh, a 180
like
spin.
not like no, and you just keep 360. No, not even 180, 360, and you keep going. Like true fucking barrel roll. True fucking barrel roll.
Jesus Christ.
So I kind of want there to be a full.
Don't give him
360,
ideas.
Yeah. No. On the contrary,
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Okay. At the very least, we know that Rotaeno is going to be participating in this year's April Fool's event. So I think this should be a tradition for us. Whenever we're going to be interviewing anyone who has worked on wedding games, we should ask if they're going to be making April Fool's charts.
Are you going to be doing April Fools? Yes or no? If not,
yeah.
What are you doing? However,
Who are you fool?
there was always a specific idea I had for April Fools, which was like, what if April Fools was actually like became cross game? Like, for example, there's an April Fools event, but then all of a sudden it's basically, I have no idea how you would pull it off, but like you would like multiple games. No, like all games are in on it. Like specifically like for a specific April Fool's event. Yeah. So like everybody gets the same fucking song. So it's like, for example, like if Ignotus Afterburn was like the April Fool's song, and then Rotaeno announces like, hey, we got like everybody basically says, hey, we got this new song, this new update coming out, and then it's like April Fool's, you should see what the April Fool's song is, and everybody hides their April Fool's song, and then everybody just releases Conflict. That's it. That's the April Fool's joke.
Oh hell no.
It's just it's like either Conflict or it's Freedom Dive, or it's a really shitty Freedom Dive. Like that's, and then like just everybody's in on it, and it goes like, oh, we got a unique April Fool's event, guys, and then you go to the next game, they have Freedom Dive or Conflict or whatever, and it just keeps going. So every game is just in on it. There's like one idea I had where I was like, that would be so mean, but at the same time, you would look back on that and go like, that was actually really fun.
You know what? Well, we'll see what happens.
That's me. That's just me, though. I have no idea if a game would pull it off, but that would be funny. Anyway.
Also, before continuing, I know that we're going to be closing off, but I do remember that. Did you bring the charter notes?
Oh, that's right. Oh, shit.
We almost forgot about that.
Yeah, so do you have any, like, so for the context of the audience, while Chris gets that up, for the context for the audience, we actually had, there was going to be a plan to possibly have the charting head on the show. Unfortunately, they could not make it, so he actually sent Chris with some notes, not by our prodding, that was completely on their own, because, you know, we're just annoying as fuck people. But if I recall correctly, Chris brought some notes from the charting team. So, Chris, do you want to share those?
Let me have a look, because it's in Chinese and I need to like translate them mentally.
Oh, shit. Sorry.
So the whole idea is like, because Rotaeno is a game about rotating your phone, right? So the whole idea is like, we want to guide the players to rotate their phones in a very fun way using the note. And that's like the method of how we design most of our charts, is that we have the idea of what types of rotation is fun. And then we put notes there to make the players do that kind of rotation using the notes. And
I think one of the first things I can think of is I think one of the best early examples of that would probably be the K-Moe chart at the very beginning of Rotaeno. Like that's sort of like on the rhythm, slams to the left, right, left, right, left, right. I think it happens in Snow Magic too.
That's the kind of that's the type of pattern that we really like, because we tried it and it's like very fun on Rotaeno, so we keep on using that kind of pattern.
That does remind me. So first of all, also Trackmaker, you know me's Trackmaker a little while back, which I think is kind of hilarious. Why is it so long? If I recall correctly, Trackmaker is like, did you put the full version of Trackmaker in the game?
Yes, I think.
Why? It's the
one
song.
Is it?
I thought it was. It's like super long, or at least the chart is like super long.
The thing is, like, sometimes because the artists provide us the song, and sometimes they don't have a short version, and we were trying to cut them ourselves and figure out that, hold on a second, though, like, it's hard to cut, like the whole song is bangers. Yeah. We can't cut it, so we just put the full.
You're right. You're so right, though. Because I was also thinking, I will admit, I was slightly disappointed from the charters that we didn't do like something kind of similar to like how WACCA's Trackmaker was, where it was kind of like this really complicated slides. I kind of wanted it to be like, for example, like with the phone, like left, right, right, left, 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 right, right, left, right. Like basically just like alternating between left and right. The only problem is I feel like people would quickly find that unfun. I would have found it funny, but yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of patterns that sounds good on paper, but when we actually do that, it's like so unfun. So we actually have a sort of like guidelines and also some sort of like not allowed for now patterns, and also some of them like special patterns that we're only allowed to use on certain songs and certain difficulties and above. We basically have a lot of these guidelines to make sure that it's actually going to be fun and playable and not too hard for the players right now.
The Rotaeno Bible of charting.
We got a
the
Bible.
forbidden pattern, illegal patterns.
Yeah.
This is why I'm not a charter.
Oh, here's another thing. Considering that we talk about Trackmaker being one of the more longer songs in the game, is that the reason why it's a 12, or is it because of how dense the charting would be? Like, how do you guys determine the difficulty of the chart? Would it be from the density of your charting, or is it going to be a little bit harder if the song is almost 3 minutes?
Good question, because I think of 2 from Sidus 2, and 2 from Sidus 2 is a pretty straightforward chart as a finale chart, but it's super long, and that's why it has a large difficulty. So, yeah, I'm interested to hear that.
Oh yeah, we do give some like extra difficulty constants to longer songs because it requires more stamina and less like you can't make any mistakes in this like super long song. So we do make them a little bit higher in terms of chart constants.
Speaking of chart constants, I'm going to speak on behalf of the audience a little bit. Do you think there will ever be and maybe I'm out of line for asking this, but like, do you ever think there will be a time where Rotaeno or Dream Engines could possibly consider releasing either a chart, like a website chart of all the songs and their constants in the game so that people can see how the game ranks them as hard as they are? I know some rhythm games don't do that, and you would probably be the first, but is that something you would possibly consider?
I feel like part of the reason why we don't choose to announce it is because we don't want players to, like have this kind of so dive down. Because when there's like so many values and so many like decimal points, then it's kind of become like, kind of overwhelming to the player.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of just group them into like 12 and also like 12 plus and also like 11 plus, because that will be less overwhelming to the players. And in some way, it also encourages you to play some sort of like slightly user songs because they are all in the like big 12 bucket. But one of them is like 12.0 and yeah.
I think I missaid this. What I meant was like, for example, like on the website, if like players who actually care, not changing the difficulty rating system. I'm talking about like how
showing the chart constants.
Like showing the chart constants, like maybe for like on like a website or something, or like a document somewhere in like the Rotaeno server or something that shows the chart constants, and like if for anyone that cares, like how hard is this 12 plus? How hard is this 12 plus in the 12 plus category? Like that sort of thing. Like, is that something you would consider like giving to the audience for like players who are actually like grinding hard constants and rating to see, or would you consider that kind of like cheating? Which is totally fine. I'm just curious.
Maybe we just leave it to the players because it's part of the fun for the community to like actually figure out what constant each songs represent.
Okay, yeah, I guess in a way.
Yeah, fair enough. That's one thing, but also to be the devil's advocate over here, putting up something like that could definitely steer players off from certain songs that would always be fun to play, but they would just grind the harder songs so that they could raise their rating.
That's true. I didn't consider that. See, this is why I have my other hosts, is so that I don't sound like a fucking crackhead. It feels weird now. Inverted World got power crept so hard. I went back and played Inverted World after playing Galactic Warzone, and I was like, this is like easier. Like, it's way easier.
I mean, yes.
It's a really, and to be fair, I think it was actually a pretty good like introductory 13. Like it was just this very simple like, it was basically like, here's what like difficulty could look like in the future, and then like that happened, and then I think Invisible Frenzy was a good like step up from that, and then you had Pupa after that. Just kind of funny that I was like, oh, Pupa's a 13. Oh. And then there's
My perspective just got slapped with Inverted World actually.
Oh
Because
no,
I
I got
remember
I got
like
I got my
when
ass
the
kicked on
game
Inverted World.
when the game was first released, I was so ecstatic. Did I did the live stream and stuff, and I was struggling so hard because I was trying to be that one player that wants to get to the boss song as fast as possible.
Right.
Not just because I'm doing the live stream, but also just to see how how the game progression would feel for someone who tries to speed run it. And goodness gracious, that Inverted World just smacked my ass, and I couldn't even clear the fourth difficulty of it
Mhm.
for almost a week.
I think if I had to like guess constants a little bit, I think for me currently, as of like now playing this, I think Inverted World is like a 13.0. It's like the starter 13. Then you have like Invisible Frenzy, which I think is still a 13.0. It's kind of hard, but it's pretty straightforward. I think Pupa probably is still a 13.0, but I would honestly argue it's a 13.1. And then Galactic Warzone feels like a 13.2. At least
Yeah,
it just
Galactic Warzone is like I too can't replay it. It's the one song that I still can't like even FC it.
yeah, it's like Galactic Warzone. I will say who, because obviously all the boss songs are charted by the mysterious entity known as Roteemo. Wonder who that could be. In case the joke was
Yeah, I
clear, it's
wonder
the whole
who that
team.
could be. Huh.
Wonder who. What is it? The I think it's the middle part where you actually who came up with the pattern that's put it up on, I guess Michiko put it up on screen at some point. The pattern that's it's in the middle, and it's the oh god, I can't believe I have to sing on this. It's one of the first drops where it's a bunch of catch notes, and it's a bunch of catch notes or holds, chain notes, and you're moving. Blah, 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 blah. That's not gonna help. But you're basically.
I am looking at the gameplay right now, and then I could get a reference of what you're talking about.
I was about to say maybe
Like,
get the video and like very quickly send it to him.
You're constantly swaying your phone left and right as you do the slam drops. That's a really good gimmick though.
I was about to say, out of all the patterns, that is probably my favorite pattern I think the charters have made. That is a really cool pattern. It's hard as shit to land, but it is so good. Let me.
Yeah, we actually. Never mind.
Let me. Wait, actually, so you're about to spoil again.
Yeah, we're supposed to spoil again.
I was gonna ask. I don't know if Roteemo wants to reveal. Roteemo is like the whole team, so I know the whole team worked on it. That was my alarm. Whoops. I was gonna ask, I guess, if the charting team is okay with it. In the comments in the YouTube video, who on the Rotaeno team charted that part? Because I want to know, and I want to thank you personally.
It's like actual thank you, or because I was just talking with the charters about this, and we made the decision is that we're going to never announce who do who, which part of the like song.
Oh, really? Okay.
like,
That's understandable.
No.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
well, Archaea kind of like did that as well, where they kind of like especially like for example,
aliases.
Like use aliases like Inner Labyrinth,
chart.
Silent End, and like all this other stuff, like that sort of stuff. And I've loved that like charters have started to get more artistic with how they portray themselves as the charter, because it really kind of am I like one of the only people that thinks like that it kind of like immerses yourself in the game a little more, because it actually feels like it's created by something otherworldly, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
it feels like it's a separate entity.
Like it's a separate, like it's not actually the charters, it's something within the game world that created that. And I think that's like the actual beauty of that art. And I think that's why Archaea like has such a success with it, because Archaea is so mysterious in that way. And for Rotaeno, I think it's especially funny. I think it's especially good because like there's different songs where those charters represent themselves in that theme. And it's kind of a play on like artist aliases and J-core scenes, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, and it's like you see Roteemo on a super hard boss song, it just fits the vibe perfectly. Like, it's the ultimate chart. It's gonna completely kick your ass kind of thing. Like, I don't know, just fits the dynamic.
The whole team is jumping you in the alley basically with a chariot. That's what it feels
Yeah.
like. That's what Galactic. That's what Galactic Warzone felt like.
That's why it's called Warzone.
Oh, committed. Rotimo commits war crimes against their players. I will say, I actually Inverted World didn't do this because I think it was a earlier reveal, but I think it was also because it was like the first like reveal. But I actually like a lot of the how Galactic Warzone's reveal felt more like a KOP reveal kind of. Like where it actually was like it shows you the artist name and then it shows you the actual song and then you go into the difficulty selection. I've always loved that in every sort of rhythm game. It's the same in Final Verdict. Michiko can attest to it.
Yep.
And I think actually Chris can. I mean, Chris plays arcade, I think, as far as I know, right?
Yeah, play a lot.
Yeah. So I was gonna say like that sort of reveal. I think I speak upon on behalf of everyone that is always hype as heck. Please keep doing that. Like, that'd be very fun. It's kind of the same with it was the same with Invisible Frenzy too. Actually, now that I think about it, but yeah.
To be honest, we also want to do that for Chapter 1 song, but
Like
maybe
I'm
just going to. Yeah, maybe I'll just spoil it. So basically, that wasn't our plan initially. Like our initial plan for Chapter 1 isn't like this. There's supposed to be some more things, like some more special systems that we may save it for future. But basically, what's happened is that we kind of like don't got enough time to do that because it's launching and we kind of switched it midway, and so that Chapter 1 challenge is kind of like made in a crunch.
Yeah, that's what
it wasn't supposed to be like that.
I kind of thought it was like that. Like it was sort of like that, but yeah. Was there anything else in the charter's notes that they said that they wanted to deliver over to us, or?
Yeah, I think that's basically it.
Oh, wonderful! Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say, well, thank you, charting team. If you're watching, I'm pretty sure that they will watch or listen to this at some point. But thank you for all the work you've done, and thank you for the notes. It was very sad we couldn't have you guys on the show, but that's okay. But
actually, I have one question. Actually, it's a bit of a left field one, but I saw there was a blog, a Rotaeno blog somewhere, like a dev blog kind of thing. Will that ever continue? Because I think there was like one post, and it looked interesting, but.
Okay. So the thing is, like, we released those. We actually have a lot more blog posts. I think a total of 20 something when we're still working on the game, but it's like all in Chinese because back then we were. Yeah, but then like I decided to hold on a second. Maybe I should like actually do a translation because maybe like people in the West are also interested. And I did a translation, and it takes a lot of time. And to be honest, I could have asked and like find an actual translator to do that, but I realized that not that many people are actually reading it. So I figured, maybe we just like just leave it there. But maybe, but to be fair, I do think that like we do want to do more of this dev blog kind of thing because we feel like developer should be distant to the players, and we also want to like let like what it actually feels like to be working on this game and like have more communication with the players. So I do think we're going to start something similar again, although maybe it's not a dev blog or maybe it's like kind of dev stream or something like that. But yeah, we're still thinking about that part.
Rotaeno podcast. Hire the corner cap. Hire the corner cap.
That would be really interesting because not many rhythm game developers would actually want to do that. Probably other than some big established one like DJ Max, probably Easy to On as well because they're already big established games and they want to also hype up their updates as well and keep in touch with players. And I think the probable solution, well, not really a solution, but it's a suggestion that you guys could do is do the type of cheekiness that Newsdash and Pero Games has been doing for their social media interactions and stuff. But yet, if you want to keep it professional as well, you do need to set up a social media presence where players could actually interact with some of the content that you guys have been doing. Like before this podcast, I've been reading a lot of news articles and other articles that covered the game back when it was launched, and there are some really good information that sadly most of the players probably won't ever gonna find. Some of them are we have already talked about over here, but it will be great to have some of those informations come out from from the studio.
It would be good to have that
Uh,
information released by Dream Engine Games publicly,
Yeah.
because it would. I think it would be. I think actually a lot of the audience really actually does want to know a lot about how Rotaeno was developed, because it's just such a pretty game. But, yeah. But I digress. We are not here to tell you how to run your company. So
No, that's what we're like. We also want to do. Like we also want to do that as well. And yeah, I think we're going to open up a separate like company Twitter account and separate with the game, because right now it's our game's Twitter, like English Twitter is in a weird state where it's like our company's Twitter, but it's like only about Rotaeno. And yeah,
Right,
I think we're going to like do something in the future.
yeah, so just like move it to a separate, make a separate like Dream Engine Games Twitter, and then
Yeah.
yeah, that would be cool. All right, well,
Any-
I think we are at 2 hours, so I think we should officially wrap this up, because I'm gonna have to send this to Michiko, and then Michiko's got to somehow download it.
Yeah.
This is gonna be painful.
Yeah, good.
But
Good luck, Michiko.
Definitely
Yes.
gonna be fun to go through this as well, though.
Arigatou gozaimasu, Michiko-san. I will once again say, we'll cut the old outro, and now for this outro, I was going to say, Chris, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an extreme honor. I didn't honestly think that you would actually agree to this, and so I'm just so happy that you did. Please keep working on Rotaeno, and then finally, once again, anything you would like to plug, anything, any social media that people should follow you at, where people can keep up with Rotaeno and so on.
Play Chapter 2, follow our Twitter at like Dream Engine Game, single game, and also like our Japanese Twitter. I think that's more active if you want to like see the latest announcements. I think and we do have a lot of like basically we have a lot of things planned for the 2023. So yeah, please look forward to them. Like I can't spoil any of them yet, but yeah, please look forward to them.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, I'm just so happy that, like people are actually enjoying Rotaeno, because, it's something that we're putting a lot of effort into. And yeah, it's like dream come true.
Yep. And I really hope that you do eventually get like a break.
I hope
Yeah.
so. Like, yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Well, I've been Enemy. This has been me. That's Rini, and then that's Michiko. They're on that side of the table. Thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of the Corner Cab, and we will be back another time with hopefully an actual semi-regular schedule, assuming nothing else goes wrong. At this point, we are just a meme on the internet. But we've actually already got. I will reveal this to the rest of the staff. We've already got another very special guest probably coming up here pretty soon that I'll talk about after the recording's over. But thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Bye. Peace.
See ya.
Bye.
See ya.